You're going to have a hard time convincing me that Donald Trump is the greatest peacemaker in the history of the world when he has launched an all-out war, in his own words, against American cities. And when it comes to American foreign policy, he's just flat out dumb. There's no other way to put it. Donald Trump didn't broker this deal because Donald Trump doesn't even know who the players are. And that was on full display and was in fact mocked by one of the world leaders that Donald Trump is very confused about for some reason, in a moment displaying his scary decline. We are going to get into it all and what Mark Carney said to Trump just now. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into that moment between Carney and Trump, who claims he's the peace master of the universe, I want to start with someone who actually did win a Nobel Peace Prize, calling out Donald Trump for his attacks at home, and that's Barack Obama right here.
When you have military that can direct force against their own people, that is inherently corrupting. And so when you now start seeing the politicization of the military, deliberately, right?
They just landed in Chicago.
Yeah. When you have what looks like a deliberate end run around not just a concept, but a law that's been around for a long time, posse comitatus, that says, you know, you don't use our military on domestic soil unless there is an extraordinary emergency of some sort. That when you see an administration suggest that ordinary street crime is an insurrection or
a terrorist act,
that is a genuine effort to weaken how we have understood democracy. And that was understood by Democrats and Republicans. I always try to, I mean, it's almost too easy of a thought experiment. If I had sent in the National Guard into Texas and just said, you know what, a lot of problems in Dallas, you know, a lot of crime there, and I don't care what Governor Abbott says. I'm going to kind of take over law enforcement because I think things are out of control. It is mind-boggling to me how Fox News would have responded.
Yeah.
These ICE attacks, and that's the only way to put it, they're such a microcosm of this administration. They really represent so much. First and foremost is the culture of fear that Donald Trump wants to instill in our country. And of course, mostly with black and brown communities. Donald Trump wants people to be afraid, uneasy, and most importantly, he wants them to feel like the state is acting upon them, attacking them, and separating them from the freedoms that it is in fact supposed to protect. Donald Trump wants the perception of our government to be a tool for the rich to get even richer, not something that you can use to make your life in your community better. That is the perception Donald Trump wants. And of course, the other thing that he wants is to completely politicize the military. He wants us to believe that they are soldiers for him, that the directives that they follow, the oath they swear to is the art of the deal. And Donald Trump's lies and whatever comes out of Truth Social at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's what Donald Trump wants them to believe. And that's what he wants you to believe. But Donald Trump is not that big, strong, tough guy. Just listen to him talking about how great the rest of the world he thinks he is. It's just so buffoonish.
I say it was a dead country. The king told me, and I use that. He said, sir, 1 year ago it was a dead country. Today you have the hottest country anywhere in the world, and it is. It's the hottest country. So many investors are here. We have over $17 trillion being invested in the United States, which is a record that nobody has ever beaten. I don't think anybody will. And we still have.
Donald Trump wants to present himself as this strong man whose negotiating powers are the envy of the world. But when you're throwing out fake trillion-dollar statistics that mean nothing except for the fact that all you care about is PR and not actual results, you just show how weak, ineffective, and especially insecure you are. And Donald Trump's about to get even more insecure after Mark Carney mocked him for his clear decline. Hot Mike catches Prime Minister correcting Trump's senior moment. Mark Carney stepped in to correct the president after he mixed up his title during his rambling speech. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney jokingly corrected Donald Trump after he called the North American leader president rather than prime minister. The 79-year-old ailing president had dismissed the press and was shaking hands with world leaders at the Middle East Summit Monday, but the camera was still rolling and mic still on after his speech. "Well, I'm glad you upgraded me to president," Carney could be heard saying before laughing. The president had called Carney's predecessor, Justin Trudeau, governor on numerous occasions as he pushed for Canada to become the 51st state. However, he dropped the demands with Carney taking over the position. Trump's speech following the signing of the Gaza ceasefire deal in Egypt stretched nearly half an hour as he veered between thanking world leaders and rambling on a series of unrelated topics. When it came time to praise Canada, Trump said, "The president called and he wanted to know if it's worthwhile to attend the summit." Trump has also referred to Carney directly as Mr. President. The president gave a running commentary as he noted other leaders in the room. He repeatedly questioned why some of the leaders were standing with him at the podium as he spoke. When he got to France's President Emmanuel Macron, Trump was surprised he was not among those standing. "France, thank you very much, Emmanuel. I would imagine Emmanuel standing someplace behind me," Trump said, looking around him before spotting the president in the audience. "I can't believe it. You're taking a low-key approach today." When it was time to mention Norway, Trump was clearly still bitter about not receiving the Nobel Peace Prize, which was awarded by Friday by the Norwegian Nobel Committee. "We have Norway, oh Norway, Norway, what happened, Norway, what happened?" he said while looking around the room, unable to locate its leader right away. In another hot mic moment, though, after Trump told the press to clear the room during talks with world leaders, he was approached by the Indonesian president. Most of their exchange was inaudible, but the name Eric could be clearly heard, presumably a reference to Trump's son, who now runs the Trump Organization. A great job representing us on the world stage, Donald. Not knowing the difference between a president and a prime minister is certainly the type of headspace that someone who is the foreign policy master that Donald Trump claims to be is definitely in all the time. Again, I know a lot of people are lauding Trump right now, and the mainstream media falling all over themselves to heap praise I find unsurprising, considering a podcast that we heard just a few days ago in which Caitlin Collins, who I think has been doing a great job covering this White House, was really just gushing at how much coverage she can get out of Trump, how often he talks to the press. And again, I always point out the fact that there's a very clear difference in talking to the press and actually answering their questions. But the mainstream media, they're jumping at the opportunity to say that Donald Trump made this huge accomplishment, and this is a historic deal. But I think what needs to be recognized is that Israel is still an apartheid state, and just because a ceasefire has been agreed to, it seems at this moment will hopefully continue, that there wasn't a genocide for 2 years of the Palestinian people. And that is the interest going forward of Netanyahu and the most right-wing radicals in his coalition government. So what will be the real test, what will deserve praise if it happens, is holding this agreement, rebuilding Gaza, allowing the Palestinian people the right to self-determination. This should not just be an opportunity for Donald Trump to play peacemaker because Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, that they somehow managed to get it done. And it wasn't even Rubio or Witkoff necessarily. This was a much broader effort. So Donald Trump is not the one who deserves praise because he's going to go up and make some rambling speech in which he doesn't know the difference between a prime minister and a president. Let's get real here. Let's also get real about the fact that in this discussion of the Nobel Peace Prize, not once did I really hear anyone bringing up the political violence that Donald Trump carries out every single day that we started this show with Barack Obama talking about. I'm just so disappointed that it is not constantly mentioned that Donald Trump is doing whatever he can to put the entire country on edge, that this is how he wants us to operate, because he knows if it's story after story and painful clip after painful clip, eventually for a lot of people, they will just tap out. Now, I know there are certainly those who respond, as they should, with anger when they see what ICE is doing. Often others just can't take it. And I understand that perspective. We are consuming news every day. I cannot tell you how tired I am when I watch these clips of Trump rambling, Kristi Noem praying to God that she can beat up some brown people as like a Happy Meal is put in front of her and the other goons running ICE. I find it sickening. But yeah, it makes you want to stop watching. It makes you want to tune out. It makes you want to do anything else but this. And they want to break us that way. They want to make sure that we are somehow, some way removing ourselves from politics. But we have to do the opposite. And we have an opportunity upcoming right now to do exactly that, to be more involved than ever. And I think you know what I'm talking about with the No Kings protest, which I want to hear more about right here. And I got a lot to say about it.
This is about one thing and one thing only: to score political points with the terrorist wing of their party, which is set to hold, as Leader Scalise just commented on, a Hate America rally in D.C. next week.
I mean, really, guys? Really? The terrorist wing of the party? A Hate America rally? There is a very large peaceful protest that is planned for October 18th. By the way, I don't think the Democrats have any relationship to whether they're holding the government hostage over it. It's completely one has nothing to do with the other.
Y'all have to believe me when I say that there is a reason that there has already been such a coordinated effort in Congress on the right to attack this as a hate fest, as paid protester o'clock, which I always find very funny. Like that these are the people who allege that we have paid protesters when it's like, no, it's really fun to go out and call Donald Trump a fucking piece of shit and make fun of J.D. Vance for having sex with couches. And, you know, when Elon was in power, to just like make fun of him and his weird stims. And it's like Elon Musk was also writing $1 million checks to people to vote for Donald Trump. So I don't know how he is like giving out the paid protester allegations. Doesn't really clock to me. Doesn't make a ton of sense. But this is an opportunity for us to hammer home the point of the weakness of this administration. It's not brought up nearly enough that some of the polling numbers that Donald Trump has suffered the worst in recently, the biggest drops, are on people's perception of his strength. People always knew that Donald Trump was a bumbling idiot, but some misperceived him or misunderstood, or he misrepresented himself as someone who is strong, who is powerful, who would fight. And it didn't matter to a lot of people who he'd fight. They liked the idea of someone who could fight. Donald Trump can't do that. I know he has his goons doing it, and they're committing political violence on his behalf, but Donald Trump is weak. He likes to sit around eating Big Macs, fixing his Spotify playlist, and making the White House uglier. And now is the time to get out in the streets, to protest en masse, bigger than ever before, and say, we will stand up to this administration. You are not inevitable, and you are weak. And we are going to do that on this show, and I look forward to seeing y'all out there. And if you want to support our efforts, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And if you want to support the show on a different channel, you can check out my latest with the Bulwark right here. Keep on fighting. Don't let him silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.